mean, people, not just me, other creators still get tagged, still get their channels removed, videos deleted, and retroactively, videos that were compliant are no longer compliant, just like guns that were compliant are no longer compliant in the eyes of the ATF. It's extremely, infuriating, and it's tiring. It's exhausting to have to go through, and everyone else is dealing with this with the pistol-based thing too. But, creators on YouTube, same kind of thing. It's just like you're adjusting the goalposts further and further to the point where you're forced to no longer make a living off of this.
Ugh, this makes me so fucking mad.
You're listening to the Art and War podcast with your hosts, Mitch and Nathan. Mitch is a former airborne infantry squad leader who now spends most of his time coaching soccer. Nathan is a professional illustrator and an avid shooter with a couple of years of Canadian military experience. Together, they run the Seaburn art page. Enjoy the show.
I don't really know where to start with this, but I hate big tech. I hate big tech. I hate big tech. I hate the big tech monopoly that's just like trying to push culture in these stupid fucking directions by introducing the slimiest rules for no reason other than, exactly what I said. They're trying to push culture in a way they find desirable. But anyways, hi guys.
Hello.
Yeah, we are joined by the one and only Prince Street Repeat today.
Yes.
Hi.
Administrative results send his regards. He's doing night vision shooting stuff, but
Oh, boo-hoo.
yeah.
Well,
fuck that guy for doing fun shit.
But yeah, we're gathering to discuss the pending GunTube-Pocalypse. Fucking odd that all of these people who put out, all sorts of content, you especially, Forgotten Weapons, getting hit with like educational videos getting struck.
Yeah. It's weird. Ian was always kind of like the untouchable one, the one that never actually got any flack, and he finally did. Today's the day, I guess.
He got a warning. He got a whole ass warning, guys.
No, that's how you know, like, shit is really, really rolling downhill now. But yeah, it seems obviously there is a very purposeful attack on people who make gun content on YouTube, and yeah, very, very concerning times. There is kind of this, if to me it feels like a very multi-pronged attack on gun culture right now. Obviously we have the actual weird as hell edicts from the ATF going on, and at the same time we have this
today too.
Yeah, we have this big tech push to kind of unperson people who make a living with gun content, and not even like particularly spicy or like heinous kind of content. Like, I mean, what video were you hit with?
Oh man, well, I mean, I've been hit a few times.
Yeah.
And there's been some where I've kind of been like, I guess that was a little bit, when you look at the YouTube terms of service and community guidelines, so to speak, they leave a lot to interpretation. So there's been a few that I've been like, I guess this might be able to fall into this category. If you really stretch it, if you do your mental gymnastics, maybe it could fall into that, and that's why it got removed. But this most recent video that I had removed, thankfully, I had 2 strikes. And if you don't know about the way that the YouTube punishment system works, when you get a video removal, usually you get a strike, or in the case of Ian from Forgotten Weapons, is this first infringement. So they gave him a warning, right? So when I first got my first removal or first penalization from YouTube, it was for a video on my 3D printed MP5. Now, 3D printed content, gun content, is not explicitly banned on YouTube. You would maybe guess that it would be somehow, but it's not, and it's completely legal in most states in the U.S. If you don't already know, now you know. And I make content about 3D printed guns, and I made a video kind of just talking about this 3D printed MP5 that I built, and I was not providing any instructions on how to build it. I was talking about, this is how this MP5 that's 3D printed, this is the features of it. just like you would do when you reviewed any kind of gun, like if Garand Thumb or Administrative Results or especially Forgotten Weapons, gets into the details of how a gun works, right? Because that's what's so interesting about Ian's channel is like he really gets into the details and explains the history behind it and all of the things about it that make it unique and different or whatever it is. So I was talking about my 3D printed MP5, and I guess I talked a little bit too much in detail. And I have never shared the sites to go where you go to download these things, which I know that that's, against the YouTube community guidelines. So I've played by the rules and tried my very best to play by the rules. And in that instance, I did. And yet I still got the video removed. It was doing really well. It was at like 250,000 views in maybe like 3 or 4 days. And one of my better performing videos to that point, I guess. So, probably well on the way to 1 million views at some point. So that was, that was unfortunate, frustrating. It was the first one that I'd gotten removed. And they just said that I was providing instruction on how to build like illegal regulated things, right? So that was the first infraction, and they gave me a warning. So when you get a warning, it's not an actual strike. It's just like a, hey, you've infringed upon our terms of service community guidelines. So that doesn't ever leave your account, as far as I know. Maybe it expires after a certain amount of time, but I'm not sure if that ever expires. You get a warning and it stays there, right? And then after you get a warning, if you cross this very, very vague boundary again, that's when you start getting these strikes. And so I got a strike, and this was about 3 months ago, for a video that was over a year old. So the interesting thing is you can have content up for, maybe some instances years, and then YouTube can decide out of nowhere, even though it's been up for a year or more, that this doesn't fall into what we think is okay to be on our platform, and we're just going to take it down now. And even though it's been up for a year, and in which case this one video actually had been monetized, surprisingly, it had been monetized. I was shocked when it got monetized when I uploaded it, and it went through. And so it had been monetized for a good amount of time, and then it got demonetized about, I think, 7 or 8 months into being uploaded. So I was like, oh, well, that's not a terrible surprise, right? And because they just demonetize a lot of gun content, and which I've been okay with. It would be great if I could monetize my channel. I mean, some of the videos I do upload get monetized, but most of them don't because it's spicy. But besides the point, that video, it was a video on a wide open trigger. So it's a force reset trigger, fairly spicy when it comes to gun content because it's just very high rate of fire, yet it's not a machine gun, legally speaking, although the ATF has a disagreement on that, but that's besides the point. So this video had been up and it was a 3D printed lower, but I didn't explain how to make it or anything. And so they just removed it and said that I was showing how to install like machine gun suppressor, all that just regulated stuff, how to build this stuff, even though I wasn't. There was one shot in that video that showed the trigger being dropped into the lower, and I think that's maybe what did it. It wasn't a explanation on how to put it in. It was just like, yep, the trigger went in to the lower. It fit in fine. That was what I said. Like, and then video of the trigger going into the lower, which at the time I didn't think like would be a bad thing. But then after a year of, and then the slow progression of YouTube getting more and more strict on these kinds of things, then I was like, that's probably what did it. That moment where I put the trigger into the lower, and that's what happened. So I was like, well, that sucks, right? And I was like, I guess I can understand where they're coming from on that, even though I fucking hate it, obviously. I was frustrated, but then I got one strike. So the strikes last for 3 months, 90 days, and they immediately suspend you for a week after you get your first strike. Actually, you know what? Maybe it's after... Maybe I am suspended for a week. I'm not sure right now, actually. I might actually be suspended from posting for a week right now.
Oh, so
Anyway,
that's what a suspension carries. Like no content can come out for a week, and anything else.
I believe when you get your first strike, you get suspended for a week. So I actually might be suspended. I didn't even really think about it because I was planning on putting on a video on this, but now I just remembered. So that's just me thinking out loud. But so you get a 1 week suspension when you get your first strike. Can't post anything for a week. If you try to post somewhere else and they find out, then you could risk getting your channel terminated permanently and banned from the platform. So if you tried to, it's called like ban evasion or whatever. So then then that's what happened, right? And I was like, oh, this fucking sucks. I got 90 days, but at least it's only one strike. A week later, when I had my ban removed, and I was able to post, I posted a video on the FGC9 Mark II, a video that I'd been working really hard on, like all my content I work hard on, but I was really especially excited about this video coming out. It's one of the more popular 3D printed guns. When you think about 3D printed guns, you kind of think about two guns, like the Liberator and the FGC9. They're
Absolutely.
very huge for 3D printed guns and the technology and the movement and the person behind the FGC9 Mark II, Jay Stark, who, the story about him is pretty amazing. And I just wanted to honor his memory, and because he's gone now, he passed, and wanted to do my best because it's actually being used right now in a combat in real life. It's being used as a way to fight against oppression and tyranny in Myanmar against the military junta there. So you think about that, and I just wanted to do the most justice. And so I put together the video knowing the YouTube terms of service and didn't show any like anything assembly or anything like the video. The gun was never disassembled. I just talked about the FGC9 and what it is, just like any gun reviewer would do when they're talking about reviewing a firearm, right? And it was up for 2 hours. It was doing really well. And immediately 2 hours into having that video uploaded, got my second strike and got it removed. So YouTube was, I don't know, on the lookout. And there was someone because I did a live premiere of the video, and someone in the chat was like, and I thought it was just like sarcasm at the time, but someone was like, I'm reporting this video for terrorism.
No, my Christ.
Yeah. So
love it.
I don't know if that was a real thing, and then it got to YouTube, somehow manually reviewed it, or like automatic algorithm or whatever it was, or it was because I just came off of my first strike and having a week ban, coming back, and they're like, oh, this like violated it again. So I was at 2 strikes, which is if you get a third strike, channel is kaput, completely removed forever, and you are banned personally, not just your channel. You're banned as personally. Now, obviously, it's hard for YouTube to probably tell if you come back and make another channel, if you use a different email and stuff like that. But if they ever find that out, any channel that you create in the future on YouTube for the rest of your life is subject to be deleted because they found out that you've trying to be evading the ban that they've put on you for life. It's a life sentence of you're done from YouTube for life.
I hate that. My mind jumps to, remember BR, like back in the day, and I don't want to say this day won't come again, and this is very different than being banned from YouTube for a lot of reasons that I'll get into. Remember when Instagram was doing this?
What, the big pee slap waves?
Big PP slap waves, and that one time where it got everyone, like it got you, it got me, it got almost everyone that I know.
Oh yeah, well, it seems to be a trend in big tech to just kind of like wipe out what they, whether they perceive you as dissidents or your actual dissidents. If you're, and it's both, you can view it in a number of ways, whether it's political or just advertiser friendly. Like, there's arguments for both. There's probably some Venn diagram overlap, but yeah, I got banned during the 2020 election for saying Kamala Harris was a cop. That was like my last post.
She literally is a cop.
She was a fucking cop.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I got fucking, of all the things I've ever said, I got banned for that. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? But it seemed to be kind of timely because they were like, well, we want to kind of, protect the election from kind of bias, from whatever the fuck, or whatever. And then there's also been times when plenty of us have posted more spicy stuff that makes Instagram a not very advertiser friendly place. Sure, whatever, we're making it hard for ASOS to sell slave labor shirts and stuff. And so they ban us for that. But yeah, no, it's been a trend the last few years, for these very coordinated kind of wiping out of accounts that are not not in the popular mainstream space of like safe content.
Yeah, I remember when all the military meme of all places accounts got wiped at the same time, and that seemed very specific. It seemed very, very specific, just military meme accounts. And then I don't know the truth to this, but I've seen some documents that anyone can make anything. To lend credence to the fact that the DoD had put pressure on Instagram and other platforms because of falling trust and morale within the military to ban all of the meme pages at the same time. And it we know fairly well that the government can put a lot of pressure on basically any private corporation. They usually kowtow to it. We saw it with Twitter, we saw it with Instagram, we saw it with Facebook. As soon as one particular activity, in this case guns, is verboten, they will internally, make that decision and bend their own rules in the way that basically eliminates all the wrong thing from their platform.
Yeah, and I mean, when you have, like, right now, where we see everyone from Grand Thumb to yourself, Prince Street Repeat, and Forgotten Weapons all getting hit at the same time, it's like, oh well, I'm sure you all didn't just accidentally post something that violated the terms at the same time. It seems far too coordinated for such a thing.
100%. I would love to see the internal documents going around, and like the teams that are very specifically looking through this and spending time, like company dime, like hireable hours kind of thing, looking through 5-year-old videos to find one little thing that they can twist to say this broke the rules. And this is so much worse than, your or my account getting banned off Instagram. Like, ostensibly this is our jobs, but it's not the same sort of job as a content creator on YouTube. That is your living. That is your livelihood. It takes a lot more effort than, it did for either of us when we were creating content for Seaburn. That's like, a professional Instagrammer isn't a thing like a professional YouTuber is. And it's messing with a lot of people's wallets right now.
Yeah, it's absolutely, you're right. To finish off, like the thing I was talking about earlier, so I got 2 strikes, and so I was on basically one away from getting removed entirely for essentially 3 months, so 90 days, because it happened 1 week between each other, right? So I was at 2 strikes for 2 months or 3 months, so whatever, a quarter of the year I had 2 strikes and was 1 away from getting removed. So I had to be very careful in those 2 months, so I didn't post any 3D printed gun content. It was just regular gun content, whatever, because regular guns with serial numbers are far less dangerous, as we know.
Yes. They shoot more better. 3D printed guns will blow your hands off.
Exactly. So I did that, and everything was going fine, and I finally got my first strike expired during SHOT Show, actually. And,
yes, I remember that. I think we were at the KAK Industries booth.
And I was like, oh, wow, today's the day. Oh,
yeah.
I have 1 strike lifted. Awesome. And then I went ahead and posted a fairly spicy video about a full auto PSA dagger with a...
Is that still up?
Switch. I was like, just watch it before it gets removed. Like, that's why when I posted it, I was like, watch it before it gets removed. It'll obviously be on Rumble and Odysee and Utreon. Those all back up to every video I upload to YouTube, right? So the video is still up right now as we speak.
And that's pretty wild, because we just had the whole assault pistol statement in California, and it's been kind of a trending thing.
Watch, when we get finished with this podcast, I'll get strike number 2.
Yeah,
and I'll have that thing gone probably.
Sorry,
but
there's some bored YouTube employee lurking literally every piece of content you make on everything. Like, wait, full auto Full auto
Yeah,
PSA
well, I
dagger.
didn't say I didn't say full auto in either the description, or I mean in the description or in the like title. It just says PSA dagger goes burr. That's the title of the, and then it says auto dagger, not full auto dagger. So maybe I avoided some sort of algorithmic
Yeah.
beheading there. But I uploaded, it's at like 350,000 views in like under a week right now.
That's
so
awesome.
that video is doing well. However, so funny, I open my YouTube creator app on my phone and I see, the notification, the thing that you hate to see, the thing that I've seen already 3 times now. And that's, your content violated our community guidelines. And I was like, oh, they took down the dagger video. Checked. No, they didn't take down the dagger video. They took down a year-old video of me not even reviewing a gun.
What?
No, like in the intro, I think maybe the intro like was still my old intro where it's just like, it's like my channel intro where it shows me shooting guns and stuff, whatever. And the post like credits shows me shooting a gun, but like there's no me handling while talking about the gun or anything. There's no me reviewing any kind of 3D printed gun. It's literally a video of me discussing a ATF ruling about like the 80% when they came like a year ago, when they're talking about how they're going to try to like restrict 80% guns. It's me talking about if that affects 3D printed guns or not. Just me discussing the ATF decision.
Well, here comes back my tinfoil hat. Like, is this, like Nathan was saying, perhaps pressure from a certain agency that we know and love? And the poor dorks at YouTube are like, well, they, that those 3 letters, I know that's bad, and just nuke that one.
And you might be correct on that. You might be onto something. I unfortunately think that is that's absolutely a possibility. But now I'm luckily the 2 strikes expired. I have 1 strike now. So I'm thinking though, if they're going to remove that video, so in the video, they said that I was trying to sell regulated goods and illegal things, like trying to sell regulate like guns. I'm trying to sell guns in that video. That's what the
that would be a really
video.
fucking serious accusation to like, if police came to your door and accused you of that, that would be some real shit. But YouTube can just casually say like, oh yeah, he's trying to sell illegal shit.
Yeah. And so that's why we removed your video and then threatened your livelihood again. And to me, it's like YouTube is choosing violence against gun creators right now, and it's unfortunate, man, because it is a violent thing when you say, you know what, you make a living doing this, and by all means, I am completely trying my very best to comply by your demands. Like if you're my boss, YouTube is my boss. Sadly, YouTube is like, you know what. I might not love the content you make, but here are the rules. Just do this, and you won't get fired. Like we like having you around. Even though you're a little bit weird, doing the weird dances and the guns and the songs, we'll keep you on as long as you just don't do these things, right? And I'm like, okay, got you. I want to stay on. I don't want to get fired, man. Like, come on, dude. I like working here. And then out of nowhere, they're like, well, you know what, you did this, and you know what? You tried to sell guns, even though we weren't selling guns, and you know what? That's why we gotta get rid of you, bud. And it's just like your employer accusing you of doing something that you did not do at all. Period. So yeah, that's just a little bit of the frustration around it, and I know I'm not the only one suffering from this at all, and I actually still have my channel, and a lot of other people don't, and so I feel in many ways kind of lucky that I'm, watch the, like I said, the end of this episode, maybe it won't be there, but I still have my YouTube channel. Other people, like, for example, I don't know if you've heard of Kit Badger, Ivan. He's a great creator. Does really PG ass gun content, like with his kids, like painting his like rifle with his son, like the most wholesome gun content on YouTube. Got his fucking channel entirely removed, deleted. 7 years of hard work. He was at over 100,000 subscribers. Done. Just completely deleted. They said, we found multiple infractions of our firearms policy on your YouTube channel. It's been removed. And that's it. It's entirely so fucked.
Insane. That's basically the same answer they gave us when it happened. It was, we found multiple infractions of the rules, and we messaged back saying, what? Please point them out. And we just never got a response. I imagine it's kind of a similar sort of unpersoning.
Well, that's exactly what it is, because like we have such a strong gun culture at the minute, like all over the place. Any kind of like personality you have, or like interest, whether you're like into the technical side or the marksmanship or the practical applications or the sportsmanship or whatever it is, like you can find a group, and like even content creators doing your weird little corner of the gun community's thing. And at the same time, now that we're seeing such a heavy swing back, and we've had it, like I've said, for years on social media, but now specifically, I think they've kind of pinpointed where the heart of kind of the what galvanizes this community and kind of keeps everyone pushing forward and learning. It is YouTube, because it's a great platform to share culture and to share ideas and all of these great things that we've enjoyed for literally, since YouTube started, and we had all those like old school gun guys who got many of us into shooting.
Mm-hmm.
And they've kind of pinpointed, well, we have to kill the culture itself, because you can I think they're realizing you can do whatever you want legally, and they've realized you can't stop the signal with 3D printing. You just have to outright kill the culture. And they've done this in Canada a little bit to you guys.
Oh, 100%. It's
you guys can't publicly even talk about your like primary hobby or an interest, and even a lifelong pursuit. If you're like a Canadian gun guy, like you've been unpersoned.
Yeah, 100%. It's to the point where it is such a completely verboten sort of like taboo subject that you just can't bring it up basically anywhere, unless you live somewhere particularly rural or very far out west in the prairies. On every single level, they will come for you. And I think, as the government's found, it's a multi-pronged attack. It's in every single way they possibly can do without passing legislation.
Or kicking doors.
You ever hear the phrase, "the hand that rocks the cradle controls the future"? Because YouTube is primarily...
That's heavy, man.
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
But it's true. It's like YouTube is primarily a content platform for younger people. And, part of how I got into guns was YouTube. I mean, like,
me too. As a fucking Brit.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't getting into ARs because I could shoot them locally.
Yeah.
I was like, I would love to be doing that. But I'm here with my 22 and my bolt actions.
Yeah. But like, if you kill that interest from a young age, and they know they can't get rid of video games, but they can definitely start somewhere. It's, the kid that plays Fortnite and sees, a Demolition Wrench video, hey, Fortnite AR in real life or whatever, and they get started in that pipeline. The people who want to get rid of guns know that. They know that. There was a Canadian politician, actually, that talked about how... there's a ban on airsoft here, and it was being talked about before, and she straight up said, it's not about safety, it's about getting these things to be taboo. It's about getting guns to be something that we don't talk about and we don't expose people to, because so they don't get interested in them. I'm paraphrasing quite severely, but it was quite clear.
Yeah, I think that I know that I get a lot of comments. I've read so many comments from people who say they admit that they don't even like guns, and they're actually like more on the pro gun control side, yet they enjoy watching my videos. And so if I'm getting those people even just to enjoy just a fraction of what it's like to just, be responsible and have fun with guns, and know that it's like not an entirely toxic at all culture. And it's like there's pieces. Yeah, there's pieces that are like really very fun and can be really educational and engaging, just like any hobby or activity. Then I'm doing something to further the cause and potentially get those people more interested in, hey, you know what? If I have a gun and I'm like of stable mental health, like, I'm feel responsible enough to own one, I think that would be fun, even though I, maybe don't agree with certain things about gun culture or whatever. if I can bring those people closer to feeling like they can be more comfortable around guns, or just at least want to know about how to use one, because I think everyone should know how to use one, even if you don't own one. It's like a tool that's like just like driving or understanding how to hold a knife or carve something. It's just like something you should know how to do, even if you don't like it or are afraid of it. It's like you should know how to do it, you know?
I always say
I
you should be able
absolutely
to, even if you hate guns, if you walk into a room, or say a more realistic situation, you're at a house party and you just walk into a room and you find a loaded gun in like a pretty dangerous situation, and you're like, someone's gonna stumble in and fucking, or whatever, you're out with some friends, you come across a gun in some situation. If you can make that safe, even if you hate guns, that's a hell of a lot better than being like, oh fuck, what do I do with this?
Exactly.
Well, back in the day, I'm not saying we bring this back, but I definitely wouldn't be opposed to it. I'm actually quite in support of it. They taught gun safety in schools. They taught young people, and unfortunately enough, and to them, unfortunately enough, to me, fuck yeah, whatever. Guns are just a part of life. Like they are not going anywhere. There are so many; it will take generations to get rid of them. So if you start teaching people how to use them responsibly and safely, and teach them the 4 rules of gun safety, so you don't have a 6-year-old shooting a teacher like what happened the other week. Maybe that would help. That would do a lot more than any law that you could pass.
Yeah.
How's it going, lads and ladies? BR and Nathan here to take a quick break to tell you about our Patreon. Not only do we want to continue improving the quality of what we can do here on Art and War, but we want to push what we do all over at Seaburn Art, from the guides to pursuing video content, and keeping us warm during another winter of illness and death, and the Patreon helps us get after it.
But what's in it for you? Our Patreon subscribers enjoy 5 different tiers of exclusive perks, ranging from all the content we'd post on a pre-Zuckerberg Instagram, downloadable high-resolution guides, targets such as Redcoat Skinwalkers, John Harvey Kellogg, seasonal targets, and more. Behind-the-scenes info like my personal art, introducing all new exclusive mini-podcast episodes, and at our highest tier, get monthly art commissions created by yours truly.
You can find our Patreon via the link in this episode's description, at patreon.com/SeaburnArt, or in the Seaburn Art page's bio on Instagram.
This episode was brought to you by AWS, Advanced Warfighting Solutions.
We use the out of their gear here at Art and War.
Everything's made in North Carolina, and they make everything.
Everything.
I'm a big fan of their SMU War Belt, the snack pack, their assault pack, their plate carrier, kind of a big fan of everything. And they've been around for a long time with a lot of hard use kit.
Overseas and here at home.
Sorry, I'm just reattaching my phone. Sorry, it'd come loose. This is my fidget spinner, okay?
I know. AWS is our longest running sponsor, and they've helped us do a little bit of everything here at Art and War, from keeping the guides coming out by providing Nathan a new iPad, as well as chucking gear our way so we can get out there on the range.
Tough as hell gear so they can help us go LARP in the woods.
Yep, my assault pack comes out with me every time I'm in the woods. If you want to pick up a one-and-done Molly pistol belt, look no further than the AWS SMU belt. Use code ARTandWar10 for $10 off. We get no kickbacks, you just save money. Link to their site down in the description and in the Seaburn Art page's bio. Thanks for listening. Now let's get back to the show.
We have a fair share of issues in this country
100%.
that contribute to the use of guns in horrible ways.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this plenty of times before, and I know that we don't have to get into this, but it's just so much more complex than guns are bad.
Yeah.
Get rid of guns. Stop crime.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, their solution to that ultimately is to stomp out the ability for us to even present that side of the argument. Not even in like a direct, like political way, but to just show that, like you were saying with even anti-gunners watching your stuff, like, we are real people. We're not just a bunch of people gathering in the woods at night, hoping for the worst for society.
The government, just kind of. I mean, yeah, fuck the government, but
yeah, calm down, my friend. But
yes,
we're nice people. We're real people. We're not too different from you at the end of the day, and being able to have cultural figures who are kind of better spokesmen than any of these organizations that are meant to represent us, like people just being people and having personalities, and like that was the biggest thing that came out of the big 2A rally in Richmond, Virginia in 2020, was like so many of those guys were like in the streets singing. Like a friend of mine was barbecuing on the streets and joking and smiling and talking to people, and like of all of the crazy armed shit that's been going on, in recent years, that event was the one that really set itself apart because people were just being people, and like
Yeah.
it was really hard to video those guys and make them look like assholes. It was mostly people just like smiling like it was New Year's, but they
Yeah.
have a plate carrier and a rifle on them.
Yeah.
And the YouTube is the ability to get a glimpse of that every single day. Like people are always putting out new content that is that for people all across the world to see that gun owners are human beings. They're not just this like oddity and like bad guy that a lot of people frame them as.
Yeah, completely. And like going back to what you're making a point about is that the culture, stopping the culture at its source and doing it their best to stomp out any kind of inspiration that people might receive from YouTube videos. Like, for example, Hickok 45. Watched Hickok 45 back in the day.
Oh, yeah,
I watched a whole lot of Iraq veteran 8888.
Yeah.
Watch a whole
22
lot
Plinkster.
of 22 Plinkster, FPS-Russia.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy rested, freaking, he's still alive, obviously, but his online persona is dead. But
Over stupid shit.
And
very
that
stupid
stuff
shit.
was whack. That's obviously free Kyle, even though he is free his free
our boy.
FPS-Russia, free our boy. But yeah, now he's doing fine. But I mean, that man should get his firearm rights back. But
yeah, does
absolutely.
I think he said that he owns guns again on a podcast.
Okay,
I'm not
good.
quite sure how that works.
I'd love to talk to him, but
yeah, no, that actually wouldn't be a bad idea.
We'll
sure
have to track him down.
Yeah.
He's in witness protection or something. It's so weird how like
he's around. He does podcasts and stuff.
Yeah, but like I don't want to like talk about someone I don't know too much about, but he was one that was kind of unpersoned. Not by
No, you're right.
by
Like, on a
YouTube
state
itself. Yeah, on a state level for like I don't know if we should talk about what he was charged for, but
oh, I mean, it's public knowledge. Everyone knows at this point. It was it was a plant.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure like what the actual scenario was, if he was being accused or what the fuck it was, but end of the day, like regardless, fucking weed and guns.
Yeah.
Seriously? That's what the founding fathers were doing. Like fuck you.
Yeah.
It's wild. It was absolutely just an excuse to take out this controversial big figure that
well, he was like the biggest YouTuber who was making it so fucking cool. I think he was one of the first people. I was already a shooter from a very young age, but like not like even magazine fed stuff, I was like, wow, you can actually like own that stuff and like
you can have an AA-12 and you can shoot it with one arm.
That video did it for me. That's
my
the one.
life.
That AA-12 video. God damn it! That video is so incredible.
I still watch that yearly. At least.
Yeah. I wonder. Like, I'm going to look it up right now. FPSRussia channel.
I hope it has like
I hope he hasn't
50 million views or something.
Yeah. Oh, he's still here. He's
He's
his
still
last
here.
upload was 10 years ago.
Dude, what? Oh, I don't want to. I'm not even going to put that into the universe, but I mean, I'll phrase it another way. With what's happening to all of your accounts right now, what if this ancient FPSRussia account
gets removed? I mean, it's that'd be like going into the Sony Pictures Classics and removing that. It's like
genuinely,
it's an actual classic YouTube video that like defines what YouTube is.
Lads.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
11.
Yeah. Jesus. Back when there was no censorship whatsoever of any YouTube videos, really, other than like if you uploaded like porn or like gore,
Yeah.
68 million views.
But everything is just so sanitized now.
It really is.
This
not just on YouTube.
Yeah, no, the increasing weird centralization of like what is good and what is bad, what you can say and what you can't, it freaks me out.
Yeah, the internet used to be the free, the Wild West, but also just like the freest place on earth, really. I mean, the information sharing, whether it's good or bad, that's the thing. It's like we know there's plenty of bad things humans do, and there's plenty of great things humans do, and the internet is a reflection of just humans, right? Yeah. And if you try to make it so clean and spick and span, like, I mean, that's why the dark web was created, and essentially, it's like you try to make it the most clean, not offensive place. It's not going to happen. There's going to be ways people go around it, but we're seeing that so much more now, in the present time about the people trying to control the internet and trying to control the culture, and it's really, I would say, I was thinking about it to myself, and I was watching this or listening to this podcast on Xi Jinping, the leader of China, and how when he became he came to power really and solidified his grasp on China, he did the best job at making it so you really couldn't talk shit about him on the internet if you're in China, and so that's much different than what we're going through, but in the same way, it's censorship, right? And we're going through censorship too. Far different though, because our censorship is like the opposite. It doesn't have to do with like authoritarian communism. It has to do with like completely like corporations wanting to make the most money and not offend their advertisers, and that's where the censorship's coming from. So it's like, yes, communism horrible and dictatorship horrible. Also, I'll take this definitely any day of the week over communism, but it's also pretty fucked how advertisers are controlling what we can say and not say now.
That's very fucked up. God, I miss the old days. I miss the days of like Magpul Dynamics, like 2008. Just like I miss 22 Plinkster. I miss like literal videos on how to turn like a pen into like a little bolt action 22 with a lathe. I miss that shit. No one.
2008. Most of I'd say at least 50% or more of our listeners were running around with gun-shaped sticks.
Yeah. Dude, I still run around with gun-shaped sticks.
Based.
I could make a Canada joke, but I'm not.
That's pretty much where we are at this point. I don't Twitter. I don't anything like that. I don't really social media other than the Instagram, which is pretty much all we have. But I went on the Canada Guns subreddit. It's like someone sent me a link to an SKS that looked pretty cool. And one of the comments was just like, that's an assault weapon. That like you only have that to kill people. Are you going to turn that in? Just stuff like that. And then like some of the related comments, I got morbidly curious. You should never check what these people have to say or how they think. And I just looked, and it's like, of course, immediate advocating for police to come door to door and to kill people to take their stuff. And, how we need the army to just
it's great. Yeah. Also a little talking about how just kind of a little bit of hypocrisy. I'm not sure if you saw this, but in the recent events in California and the shootings that have happened, tragic, obviously.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Fucked up. Gavin Newsom, I don't know if you saw this clip of him walking with his armed security detail saying the Second Amendment is a suicide pact. Did you see this?
I saw that, yeah.
Oh, man. That guy...
What was his armed security carrying?
Well, they're concealed carrying for sure.
Okay.
But I'm sure they've got some kind of...
I was gonna say, if he was flanked by 4 guys with ARs, that would be like...
Oh, I know, that would be perfect. It would be so perfect. But you know they're armed. There's no way they're not armed.
Yeah, 100%.
And they got more in the trunk.
Exactly. I mean, definitely more in the trunk. They had at the very least handguns, maybe P90s or something underneath it. Probably not, but something. They had definitely firearms on them. And he's talking about how the way that there's something about Gavin Newsom. Is like, this man is like a demon. He's like Patrick Bateman. He gives Patrick Bateman vibes.
Like his smile when he's talking, he's a plastic android lizard person.
Yes,
like
genuinely, he came out with flying saucer.
Gavin Newsom is real. I refuse to believe it.
Yeah, and that's just I mean, he's a classic politician, but it's just like a specifically perfect plastic Patrick Bateman version of liberal hypocrisy. Yeah,
100%. Wasn't he like filmed multiple times, dining and breaking his...
Oh yeah, he'd give an edict and then he's out chilling like those fucking peasants sitting inside of their shitty microwave meals. Fuck you.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing really ever came of anything about it.
No, good guy.
He's still chilling.
Yeah. But I would definitely watch, if you haven't watched it yet, look that up. about the clip of Gavin Newsom talking about how the Second Amendment is a suicide pact, and he's just like, yeah, and we've done so many things, we've passed so many laws. And he's like shrugging, and he's like, but just we can't get anything done, but we're getting things done, and it's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
And if
do
you look
not.
at the guns that which again, the shooter is tragic. The last person who wants to dance on the graves, but if you look at the guns that guy had, it's nothing that would have been stopped by an assault weapons ban. He had a bolt action, a Tokarev, and this like
What?
ancient Mac 11 that had
Yeah.
what looks like an oil filter screwed to the front of it.
Yeah, it's absurd. That gun is like, yeah, it looks like something out of Cursed Weapons, which obviously it is cursed in this sense because he fucking killed people with it. But
Yeah.
Man
It looks
found
like
in
he's
a
had it
river.
under a mattress since the 70s.
he actually, I think it came up. I saw this that he bought it in like '92 or something. This was before before California had a ban on Mac 11s. He bought this gun, and he had it for a number of, I mean, obviously, fucking 30 years.
Yeah.
And it's just, to me, that was the only gun that was illegal according to California, obviously, because they allow bolt actions, they allow pistols, but this one was, adopted by the new term assault pistol, of course, because it's got a magazine that can hold more than 10 rounds. In California, it's an assault pistol now. So
Christ.
No good tragedy goes to waste.
Yeah.
exactly. And it's interesting. I mean, who the fuck knows? But it's just interesting that this is happening right around the same time all of these YouTube gun people are getting removed. And I'm not saying that, I mean, not putting my tinfoil hat on that hard, but it seems obviously we have a lot of gun violence in this country. There's no question about that. I mean, that's objectively true compared to other countries, but it's because we have, the Second Amendment. We have plenty of guns we can protect ourselves with, and there are bad people that have guns, unfortunately, and that's one of the reasons why we are armed. To protect ourselves
poverty
from that.
And isolated, lack of community, and lack of appropriate mental health and
support.
Tight-knit groups will do that, I think.
Yeah.
And
If you
Pandora's
look at
box
the-
has been opened.
Yeah.
Yes.
Violence will always exist, and I would rather be equipped than hoping the state will look after me.
Yeah.
Exactly. Another perfect way to describe it. Yeah. So, yeah, I think we've seen it with Mr. Guns and Gear. We've seen it with, like I said, Ivan from Kit Badger, the YouTube channel. We saw it with plenty of other creators too. I mean, Garantham, Forgotten Weapons. I don't know if Administrative Results has gotten one or not, but
I'd be very surprised if he hasn't.
Yeah, but it seems like everyone's getting it now, and so I kind of feel like this might be the perfect time for. And I know we can talk about the alternatives. It's really hard to talk about the alternatives. It's frustrating for me because no one watches my stuff on the other alternative platforms, and I don't know if I can get really anyone else that's not already watching involved in watching my content elsewhere, which is why it's so hard and why I have a hard time when people tell me, oh, just move to Rumble. Oh, just post your stuff on Odysee. Oh, use Utreon. I completely support that. And I have all of my videos, including the ones that have been deleted. If you're into my content, you're listening to this podcast right now, go watch my other videos on either Rumble, Odysee, or Utreon. And you'll see under the view count on those, they're all mostly under 1,000 views. And a video that gets 350,000 views on YouTube has 350 on Rumble. So we're looking at that kind of viewership numbers. And that's why we haven't had a mass exodus from YouTube, because no one wants to take this shit. No one wants, like, Garantham doesn't want his videos removed. Neither does Ian, or neither does me, or Administrative Results, or anyone who's getting unjustly fucked with for just obeying the rules of YouTube wants to get screwed like this. But there's not a viable alternative where people will get to discover your content. That's the whole thing about YouTube. And their latency. I mean, you could just pull up a video and it's playing. Like, that's not that easy to do. If you're trying to make another content platform like a Rumble or an Odysee, it's like those are glitchy as fuck most of the time. And or the resolution isn't great, or it's just really hard to search keywords. It's like YouTube has been doing this for a long time and they've perfected it. And YouTube is really good at what they do, and the algorithm is really good. As much as I hate the algorithm in ways, it's really good at suggesting content. Like that, the dagger video, it maybe has 15,000 views from my subscribers. All the rest is YouTube recommendations. 300,000 views of
God damn
algorithm doing the work for me.
Yeah.
So there's obvious incentives to stay on YouTube and to try your best to comply. But the unfortunate thing is they've moved the goalpost, just like the ATF. YouTube has moved the goalpost, like, and retroactively said, oh yeah, this video you uploaded 3 years ago when we had no problem with you screwing on a suppressor, that video is now in violation of our
That is
community
the
guidelines.
wildest thing, because they consider that, I guess, as part of the assembling a firearm bit, or modifying, or whatever the fuck. Putting a suppressor on. So, like, surely there's tons of clips out there from films that are like,
oh, totally, Hollywood movies, James Bond. I guess we got to take James Bond, the trailer for James Bond, off the platform because we've shown a suppressor being screwed on, and
John Wick manufacturing a suppressed firearm.
Exactly. Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, there's so many Hollywood movies, which of course they won't take down. But the thing is,
because you can rent it for $3.99.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Well, it's just too bad. I have a hard time believing that there's not advertisers on YouTube that would be like, absolutely put my shit on gun content. That's who I want to sell shit to. There's so many young males that, like, you can, I mean, mostly males. I mean, there's plenty of females too that watch gun content, but arguably it's like 98% men. So there's so many young men to like market stuff to. I just don't quite understand, like, if it's just, that's one thing that I would like to know more about is what's the deal with the advertisers? Why aren't there advertisers that are like, please put my ads on gun content? Like, I would love that, because like we would reach this demographic. And I don't know if it's just a few corporations or just a few companies that are like, if my ad appears on gun content, like, I will pull, we won't do this. I don't know how big how high up it goes, what the structure of it is. I would love to know that, more information on that,
Yeah.
No, that is something I'm extremely curious about too, because, with all my tinfoil hat wonderings of like, well, is this like ATF pressure to kind of like kill the culture while they're doing enforcement action? Is it governmental like that? Or is it, and it's likely a bit of both. Well, I can't say it's a bit of both. It could be entirely corporate. It could be entirely some, shady cabal of high up corporations who perhaps have an agenda or just don't care for it, and they don't want that to be. It could be entirely money. Like, we don't want our brand to have a thing to do with guns.
Yeah.
So, as your biggest financiers or whatever of your advertising, we will not give you a cent if you put it on gun stuff. Like, completely demonetize all of them, and in 5 years' time, we want no more gun content on YouTube.
Yeah, it's possible entirely too. It's just idealism and the part of the owners. It's there, a lot of policies get passed because someone with enough money who calls enough shots, and usually it's the money. You usually follow the money.
I mean, YouTube is Google, so
yeah.
My mind jumps to a friend of mine who works at Disney, and she makes costumes for like big budget Disney movies. And recently, a thing came from the top where it's like, you are no longer allowed to use any animal products at all. And there, like, it's not publicly announced. There's no necessary reason for this other than one particular person's idealism. And they're going out and they're buying big fake fur capes and things like that, as opposed to using ethically sourced stuff that's locally available. And there's no reason behind it necessarily, other than a nebulous animal rights thing. But just someone in some particular position of power just said, yes, this is policy now. This is policy now, and fuck you. We're just going to make things a lot more harder and a lot more expensive for us. But this is my viewpoint, and you all have to conform to it. And
yeah,
like going around.
Yeah. And if it was the ATF that was like, hey, YouTube, you gotta cut this down, I wouldn't be surprised, right? Or if it was the part of the government's idea just to stop gun culture in ways and collaborate with YouTube, like, if that was the case, and it came out or something, I wouldn't be surprised. Do I
Nah,
necessarily believe it's happening? But I wouldn't be surprised if it came out like that.
yeah,
You know?
because they were caught doing that with both Twitter. Like there's receipts,
Yep.
and I believe there were receipts with Instagram and Reddit as well, where the
Yeah.
DoD and the Department of Justice were pressuring them, and the companies didn't really
Well,
say
dude,
anything other than yes.
they're not stupid. I mean, like entire countries have had revolutions because of Facebook. Like
Yeah,
Egypt revolted because of Facebook, and that kind of switched a lot of people onto like, oh, cool. I mean, obviously there was already a lot of involvement with how these social media platforms were brought up, but like just seeing the raw power of how posting can cause a country to, you know, completely change hands.
yeah.
They know what they're doing here. Like I think we're very carefully handled with our internet access these days.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It's quite sad.
It's
I hate this weird like techno corporate hegemony with the government.
it's cyberpunk shit, dude. Like
It is.
already.
It genuinely is.
Yeah.
We need
I
a
wonder-
Rach
yeah.
Bartmoss type to just fuck the internet up forever. Sorry, you're saying?
Yeah, I just wonder where we go from here. And I guess that's the next evolution of this conversation is really like, how does this get better? And if it's not going to get better, how can we fight? And not in a physical fight kind of way, obviously. Hopefully not. But like, how can
Let
we
me put my shit on YouTube. Fuck you.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
Throwing bricks.
This is in Minecraft, but I've had some dark thoughts, but never would I ever act on those thoughts. But
Yeah.
it's hard, man. It's hard when a company or an entity decides that they do no longer believe that you deserve to make a living.
Yeah.
And
That's like
it's like, yeah, that's like a violent act,
Yeah.
and I get, it's like, okay, well, they can do what they want. They're a corporation. Absolutely 100%. That is the way it is here. And I respect that. That's part of how the system works, and money rules everything. And, that's the reality of the way things are. But at the same time, when I've actively tried my very best to play by the rules and then still get, people, not just me, other creators still get tagged, still get their channels removed, videos deleted, and retroactively, videos that were compliant are no longer compliant, just like guns that were compliant are no longer compliant in the eyes of the ATF. It's extremely, infuriating, and it's tiring. It's exhausting to have to go through, and everyone else is dealing with this with the pistol-based thing too. But, creators on YouTube, same kind of thing. It's just like you're adjusting the goalposts further and further to the point where you're forced to no longer make a living off of this.
Ugh, this makes me so fucking mad.
But like, what do you think? Do you think that there could be a brighter future? I just hope that I am a genuinely hopeful person.
The only thing that works is, you hit them in their money. Like, you change the culture, or if you can make a dent in their wallets, it's large enough for them to rethink it. And I hope the culture changes. They're kicking in their flailing to make sure it does not, or it changes in the opposite direction. But how do you take enough money out of their wallet from your lack of presence or otherwise for them to change their mind? Because they're still a business entity.
Yeah. Well, here's where they're forcing us, and I made this comment on your tweet about all of the stuff that's been going on. But
Look at you guys using Twitter.
It's a surprisingly good spot for gun types these days.
I'm just giving you shit. I know a lot of the Foscat types are on there.
You'd know about shit a lot quicker, Nathan. But
I know. It's
anyway. We're literally being forced into a corner where we either have to just wither away and be like, oh well, fuck, I can't use your platform, so I don't exist anymore, or we have to create an entirely separate economy, and that's insane.
Yeah, it's hard.
But you have to, and people have been trying this like with the social media platforms, and you end up with all of these awful conservative like social media apps that are like shithole echo chambers, and it's with love to Odysee. I love what Odyssee's trying to do. I love what alternative platforms are trying to do, but they are very much echo chambers and kind of like a place where you have to go rather than a place where you want to be. And it's because, like you were saying, it's not for a lack of a good idea, because these things need to exist, but they're just not there yet. And it's because there hasn't been, I guess this is perhaps the moment for it. There has to be that migration to a platform that lets these people, all of these gun tubers do what they're doing for a living. Like, there is a demand for it. That's not dying. Like, you can't kill that. There is such a demand for it. There's, you get hundreds of thousands of views in a couple of days. Like, that's not a small amount of people.
Yeah.
And so these views have to go somewhere. Like, it's gonna happen. Someone's gonna find a way to answer that. Surely.
Demolition Ranch showing a single shot 177 BB gun that he uses to shoot bottles.
Wait, what?
What? No, never mind.
Yeah, there's a lot of demand. Yes.
Yeah.
But
sorry, I was saying in response to what gun content's going to be on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
But
I probably should have made that clearer.
No. But so there is like a market demand for these views, and the technology is not there to support them. So what needs to happen? Perhaps some people need to, like the really big boys in this kind of space who are being censored and will eventually lose their spot. Perhaps they need to start investing in these platforms and helping them get to a level where they can at least get the ball rolling on starting to rival YouTube in a serious way. And I don't know which platform in particular that is. I personally am rooting for Odysee.
Same.
Because I think they've got the right kind of mentality long term with this, what it needs to be, not just like,
I agree.
A business competitor.
Yeah, Odyssee's the least kind of like weird out of the bunch of them.
Yeah. I mean, you go to Rumble and it's just like the first thing you see is just some take that is just like, oh, come on. Like some video about just all this. I'm not even going to say what, but it's an echo chamber, and it's not a place where you can go and like feel like you're being presented with multiple sides of any kind of issue.
Yeah. And I do worry Odysee is at risk of that. Like, with love, I love my libertarians and stuff, but I go on there and I see purposefully like a few of the icons are holding guns and stuff. I'm like, that's cool, and I get what you're trying to do, like normalize, instead of having like kind of all cartoonish guns. They're like, oh, these little icons like adventure, and it's like a guy, an Indiana Jones guy over an actual revolver, but it's a little cartoon character, and you're like, that's like something from when I was a kid. That's something that has been completely cleaned up and censored. But at the same time, you do get, I don't know if it's just because I'm super online or whatever, but you get the feeling that might be ideological, Yeah. And like, if I'm an anti-gun person, I want to use Odysee because fuck YouTube, fuck the corporations and all that, and I see that kind of thing, I don't know, maybe I'm starting to think, oh, this is a right-wing website. Am I overthinking it?
I don't know. I mean, I think that it's just like off of, what you see in the recommended and what you see on the homepage, you can tell a lot about a website, a hosting site, And I think Odysee has some really great features, and they host all the gun files, so that's kind of cool. I think
that's
off of that, that's alone is like definitely by far way more based than Rumble or Utreon. They're like literally the only ones that'll host the gun files.
Yeah, the weird C.
That's okay. Yeah.
So
you won me over.
Yeah, no, but I'm with you.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that.
That being said, their search feature is just fucking hot garbage.
It sucks.
Awful.
It sucks. I mean, there's always
they need to optimize really hard.
There's always something that's just absolutely not functional or not functioning well in any of these alternatives. Like with Utreon, their whole ad stuff is just kind of weird, and the honestly, the design of it, like, all due respect, like I absolutely respect every single one of these platforms trying to challenge YouTube, and I'm all for it.
It's critique from love.
But it's just like the UI and the way you work through it is just very challenging at times and not intuitive. And I mean, unfortunately, YouTube has spoiled us all to like all of the features on YouTube kick ass. And I'm like, I hate saying that because obviously YouTube's been dicking me over for a good time now, and I hate that they're doing that, but I fucking love YouTube, man. It sucks. I love YouTube.
Yeah.
We grew up in like an age as people like kind of grew up during that golden era of the internet. We've really seen how far it's come, and I mean, Christ, it must be so much worse for like young kids who have held an iPad since birth.
Oh
You
my
know,
God.
who they've only ever had like YouTube since like I don't know 2015 or something, and it's just always been awesome
Yeah.
and like so powerful, and to then be like I don't know to maybe get college age and you have like you have an epiphany and you're like fuck YouTube. I am a big content consumer, but I don't want to support them anymore. Like, and you go to Odysee.
Yeah. Nah,
Yeah,
fam.
Yeah.
It's not it.
Probably not
Again,
sticking
with
around.
love, with love.
Yeah. No,
But
like
there's such a discrepancy in resources.
yeah.
One big
Like
evil corporation versus the little guy who's like trying to figure it out.
yeah,
It's
and YouTube's
hard.
been around for ages. I remember watching YouTube, back in high school, or even before that. It's been around for a long time. They're a behemoth of a company to take on, and they've had 15 plus years of optimizing.
Well, and who's like, we can all say in good faith, like, I'm gonna use Odyssey going forward, and then we're like, I don't know, doing a DIY project. You need to look something up, like how to take something apart, and you're like, it's not an Odyssey.
Nope, definitely
Fuck.
not. Definitely not. And yeah, we forget sometimes. Sometimes I forget. Like, it's not YouTube. It's Google. Google
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
YouTube. Google is
they
modern.
bought and wore it as a skin suit.
They are Skynet. Like, they are our present day.
Fucking Alphabet, right?
Yeah,
it's even bigger.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's they are an evil corporation.
Yeah.
And they run this platform because they bought it, because they are too big to I mean, I know that's very fucking classic thing to say, too big to fail, but really Google is fucking massive. Google is like its own entire country basically worth of just resources, money. And
it's wild. I wish we had Lucas on here because he's dealt with Google directly.
Yeah,
to the point of being banned off their campus, and like their cameras
Based.
identify his face, and security comes and escorts him out.
based.
It's pretty based.
I had a friend who who interviewed with Google and got offered a job for a really good amount of money, and he went in and he like observed the culture, and he was just like, I do not want to work here. this sucks. And he got offered a lot of money and turned it down for a salary at another company that was like not even a quarter of it, and was like, I'm way more happy than I ever would be at
Good
Google.
on him. And
So
let that be a lesson for everyone listening. Happiness is way more important than like a rockin' salary. Like,
agreed.
If you're coming home and you're miserable from work, like,
life sucks. And you got one of those things in this period of time right now. I don't know what everyone believes about reincarnation, whatever, the afterlife, but it's not worth it to feel like shit every day.
Fuck no. But I mean, you guys, we're getting on, but you guys remember when Google's motto was "Don't be evil"?
Really?
I
don't
do
even
remember.
Gonna be telling our
something like
grandkids about that as the Google drones scan for any survivors.
Seriously, dude. And now what they've done with the chat bots and stuff, and essentially
oh my God,
created they like silenced that guy who was like, he's like, this bot is sentient, and they're like, nah,
no, it's not. You're fired.
Throw him down some stairs.
Yeah, exactly.
God, I brought this up before. I don't know if I've brought this up on an episode, but I remember, and I can't remember which of my friends said this particular quote, but remember back in the day, science fiction would talk about how automation was supposed to make our lives easier and take over the menial jobs that we had so we can focus more on arts and creativity. Like, that was the basis of a lot of science fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the opposite. It's taking over all the creativity so we can focus on our 9-to-5s. It's like taking over art, it's taking over music, it's taking over writing. It's wild to me. Just so you can, keep your head down, peasant, and make sure you finish your daily quota of widgets. I hate it. But like, I think
Excel
it's cool.
sheet human.
Yeah. I think it's really cool where the technology is going, but it's horrifying how it is being utilized.
Yeah, I'd agree with that And yeah, what happens when we say, this ain't it, Chief? I hope that we can all come to a collective, group decision as people. This is enough of this shit, and something's got to change, because we're headed down a gnarly path. I hope that can happen, that day someday happens. I obviously love the technology too. I think it's amazing and incredible, while at the same time I think it's absolutely terrifying how it's being used.
Yeah. No, me too.
If we come to a day when we throw the microchips in the fire, I'll be okay with that.
Yeah.
Same.
Return
Same.
the monkey.
Same.
Run into the woods. I mean, I'll have my nods, but fuck it.
Can you just imagine like someone from like the 1840s or something coming into this modern day and just being like, what the fuck is going on?
Just imagine them walking down the street in like downtown San Francisco, like a bad area.
Yeah.
And
Or even
how
just
they'd react.
not even the 1840s, like the fucking 1980s, like someone from the 80s coming back. Like
go back.
It's actually George Orwell.
Yeah. I've said this so many times during this podcast, but like, think of young you. Think of like, you at 16 or 20 even, depending how old you are, or 10, just like insert young you, looking from when you were, that age to now. Would you think it's a dystopia or not? And the answer is resoundingly yes, basically all of the time. This whole like frog and boiling water thing, where things got so fucked up and weird. So,
well,
steadily.
all right, here's my white pill.
Yeah.
I think we are, like, those of us who are actively considering these things, we are like really like trying to wrangle the joystick over which way we go.
Yeah.
Like, because we are definitely walking the line with dystopia right now, but there's like so much potential out there. And like PSR was saying, I really like to have that kind of optimistic view for the future, because shit is fucked right now. We're going through the roaring 20s, but hey, maybe like cyberpunk dystopia is our Great Depression. God. And we're gonna maybe we'll be sitting on the cottage looking out at the fucking your little homestead.
Yeah.
Telling the grandkids about living through the age of neon and like drone surveillance and NSA shit, and just being like, you know what? That was weird, but we figured it out.
You remember the Patriot Act? That was a whole thing. We probably shouldn't do that again.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, we have real conscious decisions to make in the next few years, and like, like we have to be so decisive about how we live our lives, because if we just plug in and zone out, gun content will just gradually wither away, and all of these little things will just gradually be a thing of the past and kind of left, if there's not an actual effort to, if you want to keep these things for the future, like, it's so important to keep track of what we have now and not let them slip away, like you said, the boiling of the frog. I think there's potential.
I agree. I think, like you said, I don't have a completely, hellish view of where we're headed. I don't have a completely.
I don't know. I mean, no one would blame you if you did. You're going through it right now, dude.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, if you look back and see the Patriot Act, like, that was kind of the beginning of where we're at right now. You know, and God knows what's going on between all of these tech corporations and the NSA and God, the fact that now you can. I don't know. Did you see this? I think this is a real thing. It sounds insane, but now they have the ability to use the waves of your Wi-Fi router, like the frequency of your Wi-Fi router. And this sounds very tinfoil hat, and please, this is a fact check one. You gotta fact check this one. Maybe if you fact check it and you come back as it being true, you can leave it in the episode. If not, don't. But they can monitor. They've come up with a way to monitor where different objects are located in your house based on your Wi-Fi frequencies. And you can walk around your house and it'll basically, they can tell where. I think it was just like some like Harvard thing or Cambridge or some really, very intellectually high level at university.
Dude, this is real.
Yep. Okay. I'm found an article from 2017 from Digital Trends.
I got one from 2012.
Interesting.
So this has been about a minute. British engineers from University College London have developed a passive radar system that can see through walls using the Wi-Fi signals generated by wireless routers and access points.
So there we
Holy
go.
shit,
Yeah.
they
So
have
we've
got
been
This has
in
video
been
that.
around a minute.
from us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that sounds like something that you would see on Rumble, and you'd be like, "That's bullshit," right?
Yeah.
No, but it's
Fuck this
actually
site.
not. It's actually real, and yeah, that's a thing.
Dude, that's like something someone would have, like someone with a tinfoil hat and a sandwich board in the 80s walking around would be like yelling at you, like, they'll be able to see through your walls using radio. You'd be like,
Yeah,
shut the fuck up, you lunatic.
and then
And
it's actually a reality now.
Yeah.
and we're trying to put in as many rerouters and signal boosters and our phones being Wi-Fi hotspots as possible.
Yeah.
Like anyone who thinks privacy is a thing in the modern day, like if you have some secret messaging app, just assume everything you do that is connected to the internet is always publicly available and
Yeah.
nothing is private. That's fucking awful, but that's the reality and how you don't end up in prison.
Yeah, I agree. There's something that I tell everyone, which is don't say anything online, and this includes on Telegram or Signal or what have you. Don't say anything online that you wouldn't say to a judge.
Genuinely, and that's fucking awful. I mean, Christ, we can't even like right now. I'm sure if you wanted to listen in on this before it goes live, I'm sure someone could because
Yeah.
my phone's in my pocket. You know?
Oh yeah,
There's not enough NSA agents for all of us. Fuck you, Larry.
not
Yeah,
yet.
no.
Not until they assign the robot chat
Yeah.
GP AI bots to us.
Surveillance GP.
Yeah. Well, I think just how rapidly it's advancing is alarming and also very, very fascinating and very intriguing. And I have a lot of hope, but I also have a lot of fear. And I guess that is the ultimate way to approach life. It's like you can either have hope and you can either have faith, or you can either have fear and anxiety.
Yeah.
And you control those emotions. You control that way of viewing things. So ultimately, you're never gonna make it very far if you're only believing things are going to be horrible. It's important to keep your fucking head on a swivel, but to have hope and faith is extremely vital, especially in darker times.
Yeah,
Uplifting words from Print Shoot Repeat.
absolutely. Genuinely, like that's where we at, and that's what I'm getting at when we have to, like, we have to be observant. We have to take note that these things are being stomped out for whatever the reasons may be. Maybe we'll never even know what the actual reason. We'll just get purged, and no one will tell us why. And that'll be that. Well, that could be that. And if we just rely on these platforms that clearly don't support our way of life, what we genuinely find interesting and what we put our livelihoods into, like if they're not going to allow us to live like that, then we simply can't keep on funneling our attention and our money towards them. We will have to build something else. And we have plenty of intelligent people who are in the same mindset, and these things are already being attempted. But we are going to have to make a very conscious shift to show our support for these platforms and to help them get to where they can actually rival. And like YouTube will always be YouTube. Like you said, Alphabet will probably always be a big evil corporation, but we can build up other things. Like it's not impossible for other companies to come and take over old giants and grow out of their shadow. And that's what it's going to take, is consciously being like, well, we have to take this into our own hands and make sure these things continue to exist, not just, oh well, if that's the rules, that's the rules. And this goes for many current ongoing things.
Yeah.
Agreed.
God,
The
this is
chair
more
is against the
serious.
wall. It is.
Yeah, but like culture needs to be advanced, and we're in a culture war right now, and unfortunately, we've got strange bedfellows sometimes, or like people you wouldn't want to associate with or spend a weekend in the Hamptons with sometimes. But we do what we can.
Dude, I just wanted to be a shock jock, but
It's not too late. It's
then
not too
everything got
late. You'll get
serious.
your own Sirius XM show.
God help me if I'm ever on radio. No man, I mean, it's an odd thing. Like I don't know if you guys have ever felt like this, but to get a little less serious, like I just really liked guns as a kid. I thought they
Me
were
too.
cool. Marksmanship was like something I was good at. I wasn't like I wasn't into like playing with balls. I like Mitch, but I liked shooting.
Yeah.
That was no, Mitch likes shooting too. He's a really good shot.
Yeah.
But
Not with a handgun. Sucks with a handgun.
yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But no, like I just grew up and like adored guns, and it was so weird to me that like it was like such a bad thing, and just throughout our lives it's just become more and more demonized and stuff.
The white pill part of me though is like the more taboo you make something, the more of like a forbidden pill, the more people will seek it out. Pretty sure that's how I got into guns. Honestly, my parents like no guns, no gun content, no nothing. I no Nerf guns in the house. I
Same.
had a water pistol, Beretta. It was like a 3/4 scale Beretta M9. I was like 8. And I remember taping an extended mag to it that was made out of like a Smarties box I Sharpied black.
Based.
And my mom got pissed. She's like, "It's a machine gun now. It's meant to kill people." I'm like, "Yeah," and based.
8-year-old Nathan saying based.
Yeah, God, I
Your
wish I was
mom.
that cool of a kid. And like at the school, the kids and I, my friends, Isaac from the podcast being one of them, we would play with our musical instrument cases. Like I had a violin and became a Tommy gun and all that stuff. And my friend with the Nerf guns, he was
Wait,
a cool
you
kid.
played violin?
Yeah, I played violin. I still play violin.
Holy
I
You and me
3D printed my
both,
own
Nathan.
violin.
You and me
Holy
both.
shit!
I played
shit.
violin too.
Yeah, how long? That's awesome.
I played very seriously. I was like in an orchestra for about 6 years when I was
Holy shit.
from like probably age 8-ish, 7 or 8 till like I was like a freshman in high school, and then I started playing with balls and stopped playing the strings.
Yeah, but
Was
that's still awesome. I think like music is an important thing for a kid. I genuinely do.
Agreed. Really good for learning. Actually, there's a correlation between playing music and learning math and having.
Actually,
That's why
That's
I
a real
don't
thing.
play an instrument and suck at math.
I suck at math too, though. I suck at math too. I just suck less slightly.
So was the violin your first instrument?
Me?
Yeah, it was my first instrument.
I mean,
Oh, sorry.
No,
well,
you go
no,
ahead.
no,
You
both
go ahead.
of you. But I was asking.
Oh no, piano.
Our guest.
I played piano in like eventually a professional level. I played it for like 14 years.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Holy
Since I was,
shit.
dude, like Asian household, we had.
How did I mean, maybe I should have assumed. How the fuck did I not know? I don't think I knew that you played any instrument.
Yeah, no, it just never came up.
Huh. That's so weird.
Like, 3 years, it just never came up.
I knew PSR was a musician, but
Yeah.
Obviously.
No,
But
it's just never come up in the podcast, never come up in conversation. I just haven't had a reason to bring it up. There's a
That's
video of me
so
floating
wild.
around out there in like all my tactical gear playing La Valse d'Amélie by Jan
Holy
Tiersen
shit.
somewhere. I'll
Dude.
try and dig it up.
I gotta get one of my synths and have you back in PSR headquarters, and we gotta do like a little collab.
I would be down, but keep in mind I'm classically trained. Like that's all I got.
Hey,
Dude,
we
that-
put a little bit of distortion
Reverb.
and reverb and some echo on there, and dude, boom.
I genuinely want to see this.
God, I can play you Requiem, but that's like about it.
Sick. That's beautiful. Amazing.
yeah,
I
no.
want to hear that with like some crazy synths.
We'll throw a party next
Dude,
rock show. Be you and me in like Blue Man Group outfits.
Dude, let's ball out. I'll bring my
We'll
whole
ask
keyboard situation.
Varusteleka for like I don't know some
Dude.
crazy MO5 or something. With
Varusteleka based ass company throws
oh yeah no
sick
Yari's,
fucking
the
shot
coolest
show
guy.
party.
Yeah,
Oh my god, yeah, Yari
You know
is,
who
is
missed it?
awesome. And
BR.
Well, here's a question I did have about the shot, and I do have FOMO, so fuck you, Nathan. But the worst part is I was
4-hour drive.
the way I drive 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
But I've been to anyway, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
But no, the shot show parties. I feel like you never see pictures or video from them. Is there some thing about those? Because I've seen like a few selfies from like Collion Noir, and that's about it at like after parties. Am I just blind? Like I feel like I never see. photos and videos.
Something I kind of liked about SHOT Show is like selfie culture wasn't such a real thing, if that makes any sense. Like
Yeah.
like even when people recognized you, and like obviously, you know, I'm not Grand Thumb, and you know,
It's a whole
PSR's
community
face
of
is
people.
known to everyone, but like people aren't necessarily, hey, can I get a picture? Like it does happen, but most people just want to fucking talk to you, and
Yeah.
I think the parties are similar. It's
No, that really speaks to the kind of people that, I mean, obviously you're gonna have your kind of like Dan Bilzerian sort of types, but
yeah,
who want to ball in Vegas and be, you know, be that guy. But I mean, most gun people, and that's the thing that you don't, you know, they're not gonna see if this culture goes away. Like a lot of us are just kind of chill, respectful dudes.
yeah, it's regular fucking guys. Like talk to the guy at Precision
Just
Armament
dudes
about
being
like
dudes.
his art, and like he's designing patches and they're really fucking good, and talked with a whole bunch of people, and it was just natural. It wasn't like the people aren't going around taking a lot of selfies. I'm sure it does exist, just didn't see a lot of it. But yeah, the parties were good. They weren't like, if you think people are doing like coke off stripper asses, it's, I mean, I'm sure that happens, but I didn't see it.
No, I definitely got a little jiggy on the dance floor, and there may have been
Fuck
some
yeah.
videos taken of a man in a Pikachu mask
Can
who was
confirm.
terrifying the entire crowd, but dancing alone, but also getting absolutely jiggy. Don't know who that was, but
Ah,
He who shall not be named.
yeah,
that Pikachu mask was the stuff of nightmares. I
It was.
genuinely wonder where that man got it. If you're willing to share,
I got it in Taiwan. I got it in Taipei. I was just in Taipei, and I was
what
just
like
in
nightmare
Australia.
fuel? Did you like sacrifice a chicken and it just appeared in the road in front of you?
I wish it was that badass, but it was just at a night market. I saw it from a distance, and I was like, "Oh my god, that is incredible!" And I just ran up, and I was like, "How much?" And they're like, "I think it was like the equivalent of like $10." It's like a knitted Pikachu,
Yeah, it's
like
steal
balaclava.
for $10. Yeah,
It's sick. And
it's
it
like
was
Nightmare Pikachu.
It is, but it's also
they
it's
have
like
drip we've never seen.
it's IRA Pikachu. I like that better.
I love
it's
that shit.
IRA
Oh.
Pikachu.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
Damn, I missed a lot.
yeah.
What
The
the fuck?
CRYE party was good. There was like a little like, when I say a roller coaster, I'm really overstating it. But it was a track, like a live action Hot Wheels track that you can get in the cars and just kind of like go.
that was the most insane party as far as like the setup that I've ever been. I wish I've partied a lot. I partied in New York, like some wild parties in New York, but that I've never seen anything like that. There was like a giant basketball hoop. There was like Legos that you could climb. There was a boxer that was fighting people, but it was like set up so it was like giant boxing gloves, so you couldn't actually really hurt anyone. And it was a guy that was in a ring, like the toy, like the toy boxers that you can do, like the red and blue guys. It was set up like that, Rock'em Sock'em Boxing. And then there was the same track that you had to control, except it was a dude controlling. It was two people controlling, and so you would face off against this guy. I didn't do it. I was not trying to do that in the state of mind that I was in, but I saw it and it was like, wow, this is actually a thing. Like there was a line of people waiting to fight this guy, and this guy was fighting people all night. And I was just like,
shit. I wonder if they paid him to be there, or he's just a weirdo. They're like, hey, we'll give you like a 6-pack. You just have to fight people literally all night.
I hope they paid him. He deserved that, because he probably, he probably burned a lot of calories because he just kept fighting the whole night. I'd come back and I'd be like, damn, that dude's still going at it. One dude, the dude in the blue, yeah.
And
then you were the red challenger.
No, that's fucking wild. I didn't even remember that guy, but oh shit, yeah. No,
Nathan was 3 White Claws deep, and the whole thing was a blur.
My favorite thing, life-size Castlevania being projected onto the wall with the controller was so large you needed like 3 people to play it properly. Like it was a seat, like probably 5 people could sit on it, but the buttons actually worked. You had to press them down with your entire hand.
Yeah, it was crazy.
There was a massive operation.
Yeah, it was like the size of a crazy.
And you use giant metal tongs to pull the things out.
And it had an alarm beep when you touch the side. Like, how does that? Like, how do they make that? Like, what was that just made for that party one time?
I don't know.
I just the amount of money. Like, good for CRYE, because they are getting that government contract money or whatever it is, or they are selling a lot of gear for people to LARP in to afford
Yeah.
a party like that. That is fucking crazy.
Well, there you go, people. Now you know where your money goes.
Yeah.
they fucking ball out.
They ball out
Yeah.
hard. And the Varusteleka party with the Gray Man Company and whatnot, also baller. Crazy. Like, it was an underwater, like, not actually underwater, it was just themed underwater, like a Bioshock themed
Maze. It was like a
Yeah, it was
maze, but it was
maze.
so well done.
Yeah,
It was like the intellectual party, kind of, you know.
yeah, they
You
had
felt
Cirque
like
du
you were at,
Soleil performers.
yeah, you felt
Like-
like you were at like a really enchanted place. It was really cool. Honestly,
What the fuck?
I the party that I went last year to SHOT Show, and I wasn't very well connected with anyone in the industry or anyone that like invited me to any parties. So I didn't go to any parties last year. I was just back at the hotel room, going to sleep. Didn't know anyone had any connections to the CRYE party or anything, and I was a much smaller creator in terms of my channel and whatnot. But this year, dude, holy smokes!
Yeah.
This year was a whole different SHOT Show, and now I'm like 100% down for the next year, like looking
Yeah.
forward to it because that was a lot of fun.
God, I can't wait. They got this little chest rig at the Varusteleka party.
Oh yeah.
Oh, five.
Wait, what? Is it a little party rig?
Yeah, and there's a little picture of Yari on it.
Dude, that guy's awesome.
He's
And
the
let me
best.
just say, Finnish MO5 is such a drippy camo.
It is.
It is
really
like
is.
probably my favorite camo. And then you got the MO4, which is the desert version. It's fucking awesome. I love Finnish camo. Just saying.
Same. No, it's great, and I love Finnish people too. If like
Yes.
I think that's the first time I've ever been cognizant about meeting any, but they were great.
They were all so sweet, and I had been wanting to meet them for a long time, the people behind the Varusteleka account, and just like I'm going to go to Finnish Brutality this year. So
Based.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Fuck that's
You should come.
That looks so cool. It looks so cool.
You're the second guest in a row to tell him that he should go to Finnish Brutality. It seems you might be summoned.
Well, yeah. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
You're a fucking nomad. You're a digital artist. The world is your oyster.
Exactly. You and me both.
Yeah, fair point. We'll see if the wallet allows by then.
That is true. The wallet do be restricted.
Yeah, but definitely, yeah. SHOT Show next year. You should go. Hopefully, no one who works in security is listening to this. But someone talked about how their pass from 2020, like they had a new pass, but they didn't bother printing it. They just wore their 2-year-old pass. No one looked. No,
Dude, they're gonna have so much security after we've talked about how shit the security was.
I don't know if they could. Just like the sheer amount, like they would have to rejigger everything to unfuck how terrible their security is.
Oof.
Yeah.
Which I'm not
Damn it.
complaining about. I think it's based. Walking off the street, just have the Arc'teryx jacket. Maybe not. Don't listen to me.
Now, what you should rock is an OTTE Gear jacket, available via the link down in our description.
OTTE
I actually
Gear.
went to
They
their
make good
booth.
shit, and also we met all the boys at SHOT Show, and they're all really cool.
They're cool, and they make some really sick cool camo gear, and their booth was cool.
Their
I
booth was
checked it
really
out.
fucking cool. We hung out for like a while, like a long time.
Just vibing with the. I'm so glad
they're
that there's
about
been
it.
enough.
They're fucking.
There's
about
been
it.
enough videos out there of people saying OTTE Gear, so I'm like, oh, thank fuck, we pronounced it right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
I wanna say
ad read,
OTT.
we did so many versions. Yeah.
Yeah.
OTTE and OTTE. I was like,
Yeah.
fuck. Well,
This isn't even an ad. We're just talking about OTTE Gear.
genuinely, the behind the scenes of that ad, there was like 19 minutes of reading. So,
and then people are like, "Wait, are you sponsored by the German car company?"
fuck.
No.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck,
I was
no,
gonna say, do you want to talk a little bit about what we saw at SHOT Show?
Yeah,
on the
sure.
floor?
Fuck it. Like let's end her on a happier note. I think.
Yeah,
we doom posted for an hour.
Yeah. The big takeaway: watch Prince Repeat on Odysee and other platforms now.
But before we,
Yes.
we
Fuck
get into our
YouTube.
SHOT Show rant, how do we support you? For anyone who's listening, like how?
I mean, all the links will be in the description
Yeah.
for the record as well.
Yeah, but as of now, like we can watch you on YouTube. How else can people support you to make sure you continue to make the content you do?
Well, there's a few ways you can support me. If you are fed up with YouTube and you want to watch elsewhere, totally respect that. I, at the same time where I'm like, yeah, watch my other videos. I'm about to actually, and this saddens me a lot, but I'm actually feeling like I should do this to try to preserve my channel, because I've seen channels just get wiped out, not even given strikes. It's just like they decide you have a bunch of different videos that are, going against our newly goalpost changed, terms of service. And so they'll just erase your channel entirely because they went through and found a few different examples so I'm worried that's going to happen to me. So what I'm going to do is, most unfortunately, I'm going to basically delete all the videos on my YouTube channel. I know that sounds insane, and it's like committing YouTube S word, suicide, basically, because you are basically you're fucking with the algorithm hard, and you're saying, I'm deleting essentially all of my YouTube videos, right? There's been, I think, 3 or 4 that I'm gonna keep up, the HK slap video because it's some music video.
Yeah.
What I've realized is I think they dinged me for showing a website.com not in the description, because that's obviously not allowed. But you can do sex toys and stuff like that, but just not gun parts.
Of
whatever.
course.
And
This
we won't get
episode
into
brought
that.
to you by jackandjill.com. Oh, no,
Yeah,
adamandeve.com. I fucked it up.
Dude, I would accept dildo money in a hobby. You have no idea.
Dude, I mean, that might be the next thing that I need.
We didn't accept, but we'll accept dildo money.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna have to bleep that one, but
well, the thing is, I wish every single website could be linked. Like I'm so down with fucking, I don't care, like fuck it, dark web websites, fuck it, dude. Like I'm like, just like, unless if it's like, horrible, like abuse of people, like gore videos, there are some exceptions, but largely if you want to like put a sponsor in the description, whether it's a sex toy or a gun channel, or a gun website, like you should be able to do that completely. I believe that, but you can't do that. You can do it with sex toys, but not with gun parts or anything related to guns. So if it can go on a gun, you can't put it on a YouTube description. So surefire flashlights, not allowed, right?
Yeah.
So I put KAK Industry in the text in the video, not even in the description, just in the video, kakindustry.com. And so I was doing that for basically the entirety of all of my KAK sponsored content. And I think maybe that's what it is. So I'm going to have to delete all of those videos.
Fuck.
So lately I've just been putting KAK, not kakindustry.com. So I think the ones where I just say this video is sponsored by KAK, like KAK code, PSR, I think that's okay for now until they move the goalpost and say that I can't put anything in the text. So this is the only way I've realized that I can have some sort of chance at maybe keeping my channel alive and my livelihood. And I hope if you're listening to this right now, you don't, judge me, basically judge me for making that decision, because it's a horrible, fucked up decision and a fucked up place to be. And I get that some people are also like, well, why are you bending that much? Why are you bending over backwards that much? Let them ban you. And it's easy. It's easy for someone who's just a consumer of the content who watches it to say, oh yeah, just let them ban you. But I don't think you quite understand that is it's a lifetime ban from YouTube. I also have a whole other YouTube channel that no one knows about really, that's listening to this podcast, except for you guys, that is in jeopardy. And millions of views on that YouTube channel are in jeopardy if I get my PSR channel removed. So I'm treating it like it's almost like career life and death for me. So I hope everyone can understand that. And it's a horrible place to be in, but it's a decision that I kind of have to make. And moving forward, I'm going to have to just be even more careful. And hopefully they'll just remove 1 video or 2 videos every 90 days. And then they don't delete my channel entirely. That's my hope, but you just never know, obviously. But for the next 90 days, I'm going to be, in somewhat of a probation. But yeah, so that's a little side note. I know we can stop talking about the doom and gloom, but if you want to find me,
of course.
And honestly, I kind of wish I could get, like, if I could get 1 million subscribers, it'd be harder for YouTube to ignore me and just delete my channel. I know that sounds kind of like, well, yeah, you're just clout chasing. You just want 1 million subscribers. Of course, I want 1 million subscribers. I want to have as much of a reach as possible. I want to be as big as Garantham is and Forgotten Weapons. I want to be big as Demolition Ranch someday. Of course, like I love doing this, and I want it to be as big as possible. But it's a lot harder for YouTube to remove Demolition Ranch and Grantham than it is to remove me or Kit Badger, you know? So I would say if you have YouTube and you're like, fuck YouTube, you want to watch elsewhere, watch on Odysee, watch on Rumble if you have to. But if you are like, I'm sticking with YouTube, then just watch my content and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Yeah, I'm doing the YouTube spiel. But if not, you don't want to do any of that, and you want exclusive access to my content and access to my music and other things, I have a Patreon, and you can go patreon.com/printshootrepeat and find the exclusive content, and you'll get that content before I post it to YouTube and before it gets deleted by YouTube.
Is there a like archive of all of your YouTube videos on your Patreon?
So
very nice.
All of the videos since I've had Patreon, which has been basically since, over a year ago. So all of the videos that I have on my Patreon are archived from back in the day. And you can also look at all of the videos that have been released already. All of my whole entire catalog is on Odysee, and it's on Rumble, and it's on Utreon. It's all backed up. So anything that I upload to YouTube gets posted to all of those sites, and it doesn't get removed when YouTube removes it, and it doesn't get removed when I have to remove it because YouTube is threatening to destroy my livelihood. So if you want to watch the whole unfiltered, all of the PSR content, all of the episodes, which now will not exist on YouTube entirely, pretty much all of them are going to be able to be found on Odysee or Rumble or Utreon. Yeah.
That's important that it's not, even though they are being lost from YouTube, like it'll still be out there.
Yeah, and people have also uploaded my other videos that have gotten deleted to YouTube, which I don't care about. Like, I don't give a fuck because, they got their views on YouTube, and yeah, it's sad. But if they can exist anywhere on the internet, continuing going forward, and people want to spread them, please, by all means, go ahead. And this pink Glock video is kind of going around and becoming a meme now.
Yes, I keep seeing that.
I fucking love it.
And that video, unfortunately, had to get deleted because I showed that it wasn't even a 3D printed gun. A lot of people think that's a gun is 3D printed. I wish it was. It's just a Cerakoted pink Glock 44 22. Awesome. And I was using a printed mag extension. And I think in the video, I show the mag extension outside of the gun. And so I was like, I have to delete this because they've been targeting accessories that you show putting under the gun. So that video, it's unfortunate. There's an upload of someone else found the video when I released it, and I think it's got 200,000 views on YouTube. Not even my video or my channel, or not even my channel or anything. It's just someone who uploaded it. But I think it's cool that it still exists on YouTube, despite them threatening to delete my channel and stuff. But anyway, so that's going around, and you can watch it on YouTube or all of the other channels like I mentioned. But yeah, that's my spiel. Thanks for listening.
Well, just goes to show you can't stop the signal, right?
Yes. Exactly. Yeah, this is the internet after all. Even if you try to shun and quiet the signal, it's going to pop up just like some fucked up thoughts that you have about YouTube that just keep popping up in your mind. I didn't say that though. No, it's totally fine. But yes, the signal cannot be stopped.
Yes, it's oh man. But yeah, no, support our homie, support all the homies, support all the YouTube guys that are getting fucked. Like Grantham, Kit Badger, A&R Designs, kind of everyone. Everyone whose ecosystem and the whole life depends on this. Help them where you can.
Yeah,
indeed.
Well, shall we go on to brighter things, gentlemen? like you're partying at SHOT Show.
Oh my fuck!
We can wrap on that note.
Well,
I'm not
yeah,
I'm not a partier by any means, but Shot Show was wild. Silencer Go was as well. It was definitely more like a indoor kind of thing. I burned out really hard by my third day.
yeah, I got
Oh
to
yeah, you
see.
broke your fucking foot
Yeah.
or whatever.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I
it
got
sucks. Actually saw me like the day after that happened. I was limping. It was bad.
Yeah, you pulled up with 2 different shoes on. I knew shit was bad.
Yeah. No,
Your night go.
yeah, I could not fit the other shoe on because my foot was that sore.
Fuck.
And like
Fucking hell.
one of them like had a lot of arch support. The other one was just like keep my foot away from like the ground as much as I possibly could. It was awful. Genuinely awful.
Fuck, man.
But it's better now, though.
Yeah.
Good.
It's
Good.
it's getting there. It's still a little stiff, but turns out it's something else, and I think I told you off there.
Yeah.
It is. But yeah, I'm gonna have to deal with that. It's not great, but I blame Vegas.
Yes, Vegas is. You can hold Vegas responsible for that.
Yes,
I
not
got
my
to see-
shitty personal decisions about my walking, my diet, my alcohol intake, and everything else. I'm just going to blame Vegas.
Hell yeah! I got to see a grown man get kicked in the balls multiple times.
Oh, I think I saw a video of that.
Fucking what?
Yeah.
So there's a guy on Fremont Street who I guess has like a big LED sign saying like, "Hey, pay whatever and kick me in the balls." And I saw what's the name? Alex
Zedra, the
Zedra?
influencer.
Oh yeah, I met her with Paige. She seems nice.
Yeah. It was her little montage of Vegas stuff going on, and
Yeah.
people just going up. Is he wearing a cup? God, I hope he's wearing a cup.
He has to. He has to.
I think he.
Or I hope he already has kids.
I'm pretty sure on the sign it says like, "This is real, no cup." Like he's like, "No cup." I don't know if he's doing some expert level tucking or if he's got
He's
some
just
sort
really
of.
into it. Like this is just his kink.
The thing is, like, if I was going to get kicked by anyone in the balls, like, I mean, this is completely. I mean, if like a hot girl would be like what I would want. I mean, like,
yeah.
Ideally, I wouldn't want like Debo.
If anyone's gonna kick me in the balls,
I wouldn't want like Debo or Stone Cold Steve Austin kicking me in the balls.
Yeah, it's like of all weekends to do is like SHOT Show, a bunch of fucking burly men.
Good lord, imagine that, dude! Like a 6'7", like 350-pound like bodyguard dude coming up and being
hell
like,
yeah, brother,
It
bro.
just like lifts you off the ground and like.
You could tell though that she was Alex was the girl that kicked him was feeling like pain for him almost.
Yeah.
And then she kicked him once and she was like, oh, like kind of like, are you okay? And then he like shook her hand and said, one more time.
Oh, he's into it.
That's a sick fuck right there. I mean, respect, I think, but Jesus Christ,
this guy's getting paid to do what he loves. I don't feel bad for him anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was like $10 or something. But jeez,
y'all ever see the movie Idiocracy?
Oh yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah, just like my mind jumps to that TV show that they're watching in the future.
Yeah.
Ow, my balls. And it's entirely just the same guy getting hit in the balls again and again.
Yes. That is exactly it.
We are living in that movie.
We
The
future is now.
Now I want to hear. I know it's just 2 out of 3 of us, and next year hopefully that'll change, BR. But Nathan, what was your favorite thing that you saw at SHOT Show, or thing that surprised you, or interesting thing?
My favorite thing that I saw it's you.
No, I mean genuinely, you said the people, right?
Yeah,
like...
you said what's God.
No, favorite gadget or gun that you saw.
Yeah,
God.
fuck the people.
I kind of had this talk with Felix Redbeard. It's like I didn't actually really pay attention to any of that. I wish I did. Like it's as he said, it's like what gun shoot Mo better.
Yeah. Can we talk about the flagging that happened and that? Then
yes, that meme.
Yeah.
Do you know? So MOE Guns on Twitter.
I saw this.
So Nathan, you might not know this since you're not on Twitter, but account, whoever's behind that account, went to SHOT Show, prominent like gun related account, on Twitter especially. He's on Instagram too. I don't know what he is, if he's an SOT, I think so. But he's there at SHOT Show, and he like was just showing the Holosun thermal. They have the Holosun thermal on a not even a real gun. It's just a not even milled out lower receiver, no trigger,
there's
no
nothing.
trigger pocket.
Like, you can see into it.
You can see into it. There's no barrel, nothing. Mind you, there's tons of real guns out there that have barrels, triggers. You can pull the trigger. They're just rendered inoperable. I don't think if anyone knows this about SHOT Show, but you go there and it's a gun expo. It's like going to a car show, and you don't expect there to be cars. Like, of course it's a fucking gun expo. There's fucking guns everywhere.
Yeah.
And there's people flagging each other everywhere. It's literally the only place on earth where you can understand, like, okay, this dude's flagging me right now. I'm not going to get pissed because this is a fucking gun convention. And
not everyone's going to be doing the Cabela's thing, pointing up at the mounted heads.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously it feels weird. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's it. You can't not flag people there. You aim up or you aim down if you don't want to, but there is no safe direction.
There's no safe direction. You're surrounded by people and surrounded by everyone else who has guns, and we're looking at guns, and you could just be holding a gun, down at your side or down in front of you, and you're like aiming it definitely at someone. And yes, it's like feels uncomfortable for sure. Yeah. And I was looking through the Holosun thermal, and there's not a lot of thermal signatures in the ceiling, so I gotta fucking look at the optic, right? And then like I'm filming through it, and then like same people that got mad at MOE guns on Twitter, commented at me, and I kind of even took it further where I was just like, I'm flagging the entire SHOT Show with a belt fed. There was a sick Ohio ordinance, double 240, two twin 240s mounted on this turret, and it's just like, that was one of my favorite gadgets. But that I just did it as a joke, and I think people got it as a joke, obviously. But MOE guns on Twitter was like pulling the trigger of a 240 or some kind of like belt fed at people, and like you could see the people turning around and being kind of annoyed, but they were like, okay, it's SHOT Show. Like there's an understanding that it's all the guns are safe and they're inoperable, and even if you put a live mag in there and racked it, the firing pins are all rendered inoperable and stuff. So theoretically, I hope SHOT Show safety.
They generally either remove them or they grind them down.
Exactly. So MOE guns got visited by the FBI because of this Twitter post.
That was
fucking
crazy.
What?
Yes, he got visited by the feds for this particular Twitter post, and people like reporting him, trying to SWAT him because they were pissed at him for joking about aiming at people and flagging people with the belt fed at SHOT Show.
Oh man, he should just pretend he's depressed so they give him a free AR.
I know, right? Yeah, exactly.
Dude, isn't that crazy that like him pointing an inoperable gun got him visited by people with real guns because of fucking internet range safety officers? Like, what the fuck? They're like, that's so dangerous. Send some guys to go and fucking knock on his door and hope he doesn't spook them.
Yeah. Thank God he's like a man of, like sound mind, and
no, like they're coming.
Yeah, like, oh shit, they're here, because there are people out there like that. But this guy, MOE Guns on Twitter, if you're not following him already, give him a follow. He posts a lot of gun stuff. But yeah, that was a wild one to see. He's like, yeah, I got visited by some feds today.
Apparently they were actually like, and I hate to give the feds credit. You know this about me more than anyone, but apparently they were chill. Yeah. They were just like, yeah, we know it's stupid, but we have to come and talk to you because like you were mass reported. Apparently that's how it went down.
Mass reported.
They weren't like holding up against a wall like, why were you pointing machine guns at people in Vegas? What do you know?
Yeah.
It would be one thing if like I would get it if he posted a video on Twitter of like him on a rooftop just like through the scope, like saying like, "Oh, look at this," and like that would be one thing. Like, I think what the internet range safety officers perceived it as. Unfortunately,
there's a video of him pointing guns at people.
Yeah. A belt fed, but it's like a convention.
Just like the caption is, "This is an operable threat. I want to shoot everyone in this room."
The FBI was just like, "Oh fuck, I didn't know we left any belt feds in Vegas."
I thought we got rid of these at Mandalay Bay.
Oh god.
But had to get it in.
Fuck.
Yeah.
But No, fucking wild.
Yeah, PSR. What was your favorite gadget you saw? Now that I've thought about it a little bit, I haven't.
That
I want to
wasn't
hear yours.
four mounted two boys.
Well, I wanna love the Holosun thing, but
Yeah.
like Redbeard said, it's kind of a gimmick, even though it is
Yeah.
super cool. It's like
I
it's
think the
like a cool
technology will
thing.
get better, but 68
That's
meters is just like
It's not far enough.
ideal conditions on a full like human size. That's not enough.
Yeah, what it is a really cool looking like LARPing device.
Yeah.
It's like so cool. You feel like this is COD, like I'm in Call of Duty, or like I'm a super special operator and it's only
Yeah.
$2,500, like, or whatever it is, like 13 for the intro, 25 or 23 for the expensive one. But like that's like such a attainable. It sounds insane that I would say that, but like that's a pretty
for the tech. It is
for the tech. It's like some seriously cool tech, on in first glance. But then you're like, yeah, it's 68 meters. It's not very far. Most engagements don't happen. I mean, I guess CQB, but like in that instance, you're just using the flashlight, like,
Yeah.
or whatever, and you're not doing some crazy like James Bond thing. But for like a YouTube video, it'd be a cool video to do like a YouTube video on it. So that kind of piqued my interest a little bit. But
Yeah.
I would say the most interesting thing, like, that I thought was the coolest was probably the Nocturne Industries booth. That Nocturne Industries, Nathan, you know who they are. They're
Get some night vision talk in.
Oh my god, are you talking about the quads they had, the ultralight quads?
The quads and the device that folds them up. Yeah, they're basically a way more affordable version of GPN VGs, which normally costs around 40 grand. These are like 15 or something, which of course it's absurd, and that's like so much money, but that's like not even that far away from like a nice pair of binos, and now you've got quads for that much. I just think that there's not, like, from what I've understood from my brief time like caring about night vision and getting geeked out into it, there's not a whole lot of innovation outside of like, like with materials and stuff, like, and there's some things like the super gain stuff or whatever that is, but like this is actually some really cool bit of innovation within the night vision industry, and the fact that they're using 3D printed parts is really awesome in my opinion. And like also that really helps their profit margins, because damn, like there's not a lot of profit margins in night vision, unfortunately. So they're able to 3D print these housings and have them be really strong and durable, but also keep the price point down for your average consumer. Everyone wins, and they get a good, pretty decent profit margin off of it. And so I'm really excited to check some of that stuff out eventually. Some quads.
That'll be fuck. That's so cool. The quads are. I have some Nocturne Industries UA NVBs, like the katanas.
Yeah.
And they are so light. Like I don't even run a counterweight. They are so light. They stow so well. Yeah, they fuck. That and Flux Defense. I love their. That's been around for a little while. The Raider, but the new updated version fucks. I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
I just think it's neat.
Yeah, I had someone reach out. I haven't even got back to them yet, but they offered to send me their chassis, their Flux chassis.
They're dope. You should. They're fun.
Yeah.
Like,
I'd like
not
to try
sponsored or have a relationship with Flux anyway. But I genuinely had a lot of fun with the Raider.
Yeah, I gotta check that thing out.
On the topic of night vision, asking you two gents to pull a number out of your ass. I mean, when do you think, just even like a PVS 14, based on what you guys kind of saw of the night vision stuff as shot, when do you think just having any night vision device in the household will be, amongst like kind of this community, will be as common as like an AR-15 or a plate carrier?
That's a great question.
Tough, because like
I know it's like a real out there question, but I mean, any kind of feel on that? Like,
it's
do you
hard.
think we're...
Depends on the price, honestly, because like I was talking with I think when digital night vision gets better to the point of like extreme viability, it's getting there.
Yeah.
Or like tubes somehow become much cheaper. I was talking with Mark Forbes Design about this. There is no way to make tubes much cheaper. There's a lot of labor involved.
The obstacle.
Yeah, and even the Chinese tubes still cost quite a bit. They're just reverse engineered from American tech. It's not going to happen anytime soon, I don't think. But who knows? Like if digital night vision suddenly makes leaps and bounds, and suddenly there's something like Psionics is trying, but it's not quite viable yet.
Yeah.
And like some of the homemade stuff looks pretty cool. And like your experience with the PVS 69, which you'll be doing a video about later. I think you can assemble those pretty good, but it is as good as you are as a builder, I think. But
Yeah.
there's still drawbacks. There's big drawbacks.
I would say the same, something similar. I think with the way camera sensor technology is going, we've come a long way in the past few years, and Sony cameras in particular. If you look at the A7S III and all that,
it's wild.
They can take photographs now, but I mean, and also shoot video really well in low light. And if you think about it, I don't think, like Nathan said, that the tubes are going to get any cheaper anytime soon, and that is what costs the most in terms of night vision. It's like the tube, and there's not a lot of big opportunities there's not a lot of competition within that space. It's like, what is it, like L3 Harris and Photonis and Elbit, like those, and there are maybe a couple of more at once, but that's like not, and they're all they all don't have a huge profit margin. I don't think. It's just an expensive process.
That's a real killer.
So it's like, no, probably not real quote unquote real tube night vision is going to get any cheaper. It's just going to have to be like a more normalized cultural thing where it's like, I'm saving up for night vision. I'm not going to buy an expensive car. I'm going to.
That seems to be more the trend. People like so many bachelor dudes are like, fuck you guys for one, but like they're like, this is my priority now. Like, I'm eating ramen, studio apartment, shitty car, but I'm getting the fucking nods. I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah,
that's the way to do it though.
If it makes you feel better, it took me over a year. Like it probably took me a year and a half.
And to be honest, any kind of night vision device that uses a tube, like a real tube, even the Gen 2 Plus stuff, ideally Gen 3, like a shitty Gen 3 PVS 14 is like binos are not that much better that it's like, I got a PVS 14 for like $2,500, and that thing, like I would feel fine having that and not having my binos. Like if a situation came to it, it's like, if you have night vision, you have night vision, and a monocular is plenty for like anything you want to do at night. And it's like, binos are cool. It's just they make it a little bit easier, but they're also heavier. They're also clunkier, and you have less, range of motion, and you are able to see a little bit better, and your depth perception is better. But is it $10,000 versus $2,500 better? No. So it's like, if you can afford it, sick. Like, that's a flex. But if you can't, I'm telling you, PVS 14, like a used one with it doesn't have to be a hugely spec'd out one. It's still incredibly powerful. And even if you're just like wanted to look at the stars, it's fucking sick.
Yeah,
seriously. That my first few experiences, I was luckily like out on the edge of town and had a whole desert night sky to look at. First time I ever tried nods, I was like, oh wow, yep, this is the next investment.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Someone even brought some along to Childerberg, passed them around to a bunch of powerheads. It was great.
Oh yeah, that'll be fun. I
sitting there staring at the nebula. I'm like, what? Yeah. Man, I gotta get me some of these. How much do these run, man? Holy fuck!
Exactly. Got the drug rug on.
Yeah. Oh hell yeah, dude! It was a vibe. But yeah. Well, I mean that's interesting. I think that's gonna be the next. I was really wondering if there was going to be anything coming out of SHOT Show that was going to kind of crack the code, but I mean, because we've had so much fucky stuff with like supply chains, I was like, it's probably not going to get better. It's probably going to get worse for a little bit, and maybe even more expensive unless someone cracks the code of digital night vision. But
yeah, I think so. It's I think we are on the precipice of cracking that code. And night vision has, and we talked about this last time, it's become a lot more affordable with like the Chinese NNVT tubes and everything else. Like now you can have a set of duels for under $5,000, which was
crazy.
unthinkable before. And it's like, are they going to perform as good as unfilmed Gen 3 Elbits? No, fuck no. But are they going to make you night vision capable and you can upgrade later? Yes. It depends on your priorities and like how much food you can put on your table at any given time and like how you stack it. Not a lot of people can throw $10,000 on something at any given time.
Word.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, lads, this was a good one. It got a little dour for a minute, but I'm
Hey, I mean that is.
But we have to. Like sometimes
we have to be serious about what we're facing here, and we do have to acknowledge that this stuff is going on, and that we need to headbutt it rather than ignore it.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree. It's it fucking sucks, but it's here now, and we just have to find ways to live with it, I guess. Like, what can we do to combat this? What can we do to continue to survive while the whole world is poo-poo?
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll be continuing to have these conversations, and maybe even bringing you back, PSR, to talk with other GunTube guys, and see if there's anything we can get together with people. But
yeah.
I hope the next time I come on, it's a better, brighter place and a more.
Sure.
Less dark situation.
Me too.
And
genuinely.
At the end of the day, though, it's like I have a place to live, I have a shelter, and I have food, and I have people that love me, and really, that's all that matters. And I'm not in a war-torn country or being silenced by my government too much, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when we talk about censorship and stuff, this really is nothing compared to what a lot of countries and people in other countries face. And I hope that that's something that I try to remind myself about. Like, this is, and I, not to get too doomy again, this is the end of the episode, but yeah, it's important to just be thankful for what you do have. Right.
Yeah.
And to grip onto it with your fucking fingernails.
Yeah, exactly. And not let that shit go at all.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, can we get some dad advice, Mr. PSR?
Train your kids with night vision from a young age.
Yes.
Base.
Show them the stars. Show your kids the stars through your nods.
Dude, that I would remember that shit for life if my dad was rocking a PVS 14.
Right?
Oh god, once you look at the stars through night vision once, it's like you can't go back to not having night vision.
No.
You realize how small you are.
Yeah.
And how big and beautiful the universe is. And how it's all just gonna go on no matter what bullshit transpires.
Exactly.
That's kind of beautiful.
It is. Very well said.
So you have to get yourself a PVS 14 so you can have this realization. And maybe a bag of mushrooms. But but you didn't hear that here. I do have one last little bit of not dad advice, but ladies and gentlemen, the black market is not always immoral.
That's pretty
and
good.
Someday it might be your only option.
Yeah. My dad advice, this kind of like everything with YouTube and just kind of everything in general with the ATF and all of that, and just life in general. 2023 is off to a weird start. Check in on your homies, make sure they're doing okay, reach out to them, and
Absolutely.
Make sure they know that they're valued and that things are going to be okay.
I was really waiting for the ATF joke, but no, thank you. Thank you, Nathan.
No, not
Very
this
wholesome.
time. Not this time. I'm gonna.
No.
I'm going to
Basically
Mitch
wholesome.
it for a minute. He'll be
Nice.
proud of me.
I dig it. I'm with that.
Okay, bye.